What's going on, everybody? Another episode of Through the Line. This is a very much well indeed special episode. One that I kind of have my hands in as well. To my right is Mr. Jackson Lawrance. He is in charge of the Energy Solutions department of your favorite roofer, Energy Solutions. We just launched that on social media. You guys should go check out Your Favorite Roofer and GC LLC on Instagram, Facebook, all platforms. You guys go check it out. Even the original website, www.yfroofer.com. You guys go check in, keep up with the latest news and updates that we're doing for everyone in the great state of Texas, as well as the surrounding states. We're here offering much better things to the way that people can win and better their life economically, mentally, sometimes even spiritually. We got a lot of things that we have to offer here. I don't want to talk too much, but you will hear me talk a little bit more within the guide of this conversation. Once again, to my right, I have with you Jackson Lawrance. Tell them a little bit about yourself and your background and things that you come from and how you got so good, well, and skilled and versed within providing the community with solutions, but not only solutions, energy solutions.
Energy Solutions. Hey, thank you for the introduction. I'm proud to not only be here on this episode today, but bigger picture, have not been this proud of a partnership that I am the one of you, and I don't just say that lightly. I'll keep it concise. You know, I've been in the renewable energy space for the better part of a decade, and it started kind of as a lowly door knocker. Mm-hmm. You know, you go out there, you pound doors in hopes to set an appointment, and then a closer would come in after you. Very standard setter closer model in any door-to-door industry. But then from there, you know, it just kind of, I found I felt the most natural doing business knee to knee at the kitchen table with another homeowner. And I think the biggest contributing factor to that was just my ability to appeal to a large and more diverse, you know, percentage of people. You know, I've moved around a lot as a kid. You know, some could make a case for that not being good for your foundation. Mm-hmm. But I think, hey, you know, with a loose foundation or what have you, you have to develop the skill to adapt quickly. So I've never entered a group of people that I didn't, you know, seem to get along with or integrate with really well. And then from the door knocking experience came to the natural evolution. You kind of get into closing. And then that's where I fell in love with it. No 2 days are the same. It's always a different family and a new problem to solve. And, you know, what I really appreciated was what I was selling, I guess, if you would, or the proposal was a way to save them money. So from knocking to setting, and then to leading a team, kind of in the San Antonio areas where I started cutting my teeth, and then bigger responsibilities of more like a territory, maybe Austin, San Antonio, then regional from Texas, and then all the way up to the first company I'd worked with, which was really neat. Got into the, ultimately evolved into the executive team. So it was like a president of sales, which was really neat. We had 15 markets across the nation in 15 different states, you know, 100 to 200 reps actively going into homes daily, assessing the need, you know, making the homeowner aware of that need, and then, you know, proposing a solution for it.
Perfect. So what your niche really pans down to, and a lot of involvement over all the things that you kind of hit on briefly there, is basically providing solutions, not only for homeowners, but you're giving opportunities to others as well, right? The growth and the expansion and leading the teams to be able to expand your reach and expand your intelligence to be able to gain more reach, to be able to help more people, correct? So within helping more people, there's more solutions because there's more brilliant ideas. And within the word complain, I hear a lot of people complain a lot of times about a lot of things, but I'm a very optimistic mind, and the syllable that comes within complaint, the first syllable is co. Co means to be able to find a solution to better something, or to be able to come together to figure out a solution, right? So with every complaint, there's always an answer or a solution to those things that you're going to be able to provide, and that we're going to be able to provide to the communities, right? So let's hit a little bit more about your childhood and your raising. Because I mean, within helping people and expanding your reach, that has to stem from somewhere. How's your family? What's your family background dynamic?
Doing the deep dive. I love having these conversations, especially with you. I appreciate the question. For the most part, really solid foundation. Mother and father were divorced when I was 2 years old. We had an older sister who had passed away at a far too young of an age, so that had a horrible impact on my father. So that just kind of really stressed the relationship between my mom and my dad, and if you were Bobby Knight, the old basketball coach, like imagine like a 6'5", just old gun smoke country version of Bobby Knight, but name him Ken Lawrence, and then there's my dad.
Yeah.
But it's that standard that we share. He just had the standard of excellence, and he wouldn't tolerate much less. But he didn't know how to really meet people at a standard that didn't really meet his.
So he had an emotional break.
I think so. And naturally, given that circumstance, nothing is more unnatural than losing your child before you, right? So then it kind of leads ultimately to separation. Mom and dad can't figure it out. So for a lot of the time, it was kind of single mother household. I've got 3 brothers and 2 sisters. 2 of my brothers lived with us for the most part. And it would look like my mom kind of packing up the kids, like a midnight move, and then dad kind of following us and trying to work things back out again. And then we settle, and then things would ultimately not work out, and then
you relocate.
She packs up and moves again. And I mean, we've covered everywhere from like West Coast California, some of her family up there, to back to Houston again, and then East Coast Pennsylvania at one time, and then he'd kind of come up there, and then she got remarried, and that kind of stabilized a lot of things. And then for my dad also, he was just, everything that I think embodies the definition of a man, he wanted to instill that. That was always his message. But, nobody is without their own downfalls, but he was always there no matter what. He was very sports forward. He played college basketball at Sul Ross University in the 70s. The Converse and the short shorts, on a hardwood floor.
The true swag.
It was basically just a fist fight on a wood floor. They called it basketball back then. But so kind of that hard-nosed kind of upbringing. And then my mom would do everything she could to counterbalance that.
Yeah.
So kind of over-mothered, if you would, I guess, maybe a little under-fathered, but able to find other role models, and extract the things that I had in common with him. Not that he was ever unavailable totally, but, I just I think it's natural. You see somebody who has something going on for themselves that you want. I think it wise, in my opinion, to get close to them.
Yeah.
Or at least conduct an interview like this, have a conversation. How did you acquire these things? And then reverse engineer what the daily productive activities should be. So you got to align with that. And so it's back to, in shorter, in fewer words, kind of rocky, moving around a lot. But again, as I said earlier, it allowed me to kind of, lots of changing of schools, different elementary schools, different middle schools, different high schools, and different regions, and just able to kind of assimilate, get along, and then I've been told I should be in some sort of a sales role really my whole life. I guess it's just maybe trying to persuade myself out of some trouble I might have gotten myself
Absolutely
into.
so. Well, one good thing about sales, and I know from experience, is the one key characteristic that really impedes a lot of success within any salesman is this is not your mom and dad's solar system. It is new and improved. We have a bunch of different options that's stated. Once again, contact us now and we can show you how to save. This is systems that's not only for your security, for your electricity bill, but security for the outages that we do have in the great state of Texas. YFP Energy Solutions is bagging solar as well as bagging backup batteries that'll be able to help you if your power happens to go out. Those things are recyclable as well. That way you can use your energy and we can provide you the solutions that'll better help you in your total life. Check us out today. Characteristic of adaptability. Okay, so you're looking at your childhood and you're bouncing around here and you're figuring it out here. Then you pack up and move. As soon as you got to figure it out, oh, here's another curve for you. Hey, you got to go figure it out here. Hey, as soon as you get comfortable here, you start to get good and like this stuff here. It's like, oh no, wait, hey, we're not done. You got to go here. So it's something within, like I said, being an optimistic mind. You got to understand within every so-called storm that we have as a human being, there's always positive light and things that you can take from those storms that's going to help you become a better person. And to be able to adapt, you're learning even when it goes down to the energy solutions base that we're going to get into, the word adaptability as the world furthers, as the world gets more developed, especially with all this technical stuff. You're learning how to be able to help other people adapt based off your skill set, right? So going into energy solutions, you're saying that you've been in the solar field for a little bit over a decade. How do owners of solar systems, as far as investment wise, return wise, and even just peace of mind wise, as far as the initial investment to even get into solar, what have been to the adaptive changes that you've seen over the past decade, and the reason why we now offer a product that, not gonna lie to you guys, I wasn't a big believer until I saw the data. So you showed me the data. So let's talk a little bit more about the solar sector and the data that people can benefit off of these energy solutions.
Absolutely. So one thing, if I know we're going to talk a lot and cover it, and it's hard to just grab one benefit, of all of them that are out there. But I would say if nobody remembered me saying anything other than this, when it comes to your dynamic between the utility company and maybe investing into a renewable source of energy, the money's already spent. It's going to the utility company. So long as you want to have running lights, lights on, running water and things like that, the money's already spent.
Yeah.
What I loved about solar originally, and this was kind of earlier in the earlier days, I know it's a bold statement. If Elon Musk brought residential solar to California, I like to say that, the very first company I worked for and that executive team might have played a big role in bringing it to Texas. But at that time, it was different. You had maybe more maybe integrity forward people in there that really learned what it is about photovoltaics or PV and what that means, and how, the true inner workings of a solar panel. And then you roll that product or an equipment or a technology rather, because it's not a fuel, it's a technology. The sun, so long as it's rising and setting every day, you can catch money from it and it'll power your house.
Absolutely.
But I noticed that, over the years, it became very saturated and kind of had like a lot of door-to-door, maybe pest control folks who didn't specialize in solar or take the time to really appreciate what it was.
Okay, so how did that make a big disconnect within what it truly does for people whenever they were investing into these things? How did that affect the consumer and the people that were investing into these systems with people that didn't know truly how to set you up for success within selling that system to you?
Yes, sir. So solar residentially as a concept exploded out of the West Coast. Earlier days, it was just kind of more pure, I guess, if you would, and then it was simple. The money's already spent, and we can finance or cash or however you want to pay for the technology to be installed on your home, and it's cleaner, and it's a fixed expense.
So explain that to me.
Yes, sir.
So how does the electricity company work, right? So you're talking about the money's already spent. What does that entail? Like,
Yes,
what does that mean?
So for us now, even in this building or any of our homes or anybody listening, you own your home, ideally, to qualify. You pay an electric company. They installed the meter out by your house, which reads your kilowatt hour consumption. That's how they're sending you a bill at the end of every month. They installed the meter, and they're the ones who read the meter. And then they're the ones who send you a bill. And they're in the business of making money. How do we know that we're not being overcharged for our electricity? If you can't measure something, you can't manage it. And most homeowners, they're too busy, kids or lives or work or what have you, then they know that they open up a bill or they get it online and they have to pay it.
Yeah.
So there's no real control there. And you're kind of at the mercy of whatever the utility company sends you. And they kind of do some marketing out there and free nights or whatever this is, whatever that is. Either way, you're paying for the electricity from the grid. The whole concept originally that I fell in love with in the early days was, instead of doing that, instead of just pulling power from the grid and inflation being subject to that, milk, cheese, bread, gasoline, electricity all becomes more expensive with time. You can become immune to that. It's a fixed expense.
Yeah.
Most people are on a fixed income. you make the same amount of money every month, ideally. Most people we run into. Ideally, you'd like to have fixed expenses. It's just easier to control the budget.
Yeah.
If I were to ask any of our viewers, and we started a poll or a survey, hey, what's your electricity bill going to be to the penny next month? No one will get it right.
Yeah.
TXU might know, or are they just averaging your bill with other neighbors and just send you 200 something?
Pretty much at that point, it's kind of like a wholesale price.
Sure.
So they're getting it for cheaper.
Exactly. They'll buy it from a wholesale energy provider, and then these retail guys, and DFW more specifically would be like TXU, Reliant, and we've heard of them all.
Yeah.
But all of them are purchasing from Encore. They own like 80% of the Texas grid. So instead of all that, super convoluted, impossible to measure, you have no control, you invest into a home improvement or a solar system. The panels are installed on your roof or on the ground, wherever you like. We'll customize the design. The sun will shine on your panels, generates a direct current of electricity, passes through an inverter, and then a different solar meter also is come standard, so we can kind of measure what kilowatt hour production or electricity production comes from your system versus what you're pulling from the grid. And when you do it precisely, when you do it accurate and you're surgical with it, it's a good deal for the homeowner because they're producing all of their own power on site.
So they're able to be able to further gauge everything that's coming in as far as what they're willing to put out. Is what you're saying?
Exactly. So if I were to ask any of our viewers, what's your electricity bill to the penny going to be next month? No one would get it right. Those who have opted into solar and are investing into solar, I could ask them what their power payment will be in 36 months from now. It's the same. It's
going to be the same
from day one. Okay. And it was federally subsidized by the government for a long time. There's tax credits. Everybody has a fun time keeping up with what the Fed's doing. So, we keep up. We're lockstep with that.
Yeah.
We make sure that we have good info now, but that's really it. It's a cleaner source of power. It's fixed predictability. In today's economy, who can't appreciate knowing what their payment's going to be for power?
Exactly.
It's the second highest operating in the cost. Apologies. It's the second highest operating cost of the home also. Usually it's mortgage and then your power bills.
Yeah.
So to eliminate that, because let's say you're set up with TXU or Reliant or one of these guys now, I'd ask you again, when do you plan on paying off the utility company?
So you can't.
Never.
You're right. Like I couldn't call Reliant right now and be like, hey, how much do I have left on this as far as my house and my power?
There's no balance. There's no balance.
You can never get rid of it.
And to apples to make it very easy for homeowners, imagine putting your relationship with your electric company in financial terms. What's the term? Lifetime. What's the interest rate? 100%. If TXU or any of these retail energy providers or any of the homeowners were given an option presented like that, do you think they'd jump on board? No. They don't usually have a choice.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a standard feature. I move in, energy ogre, I'm getting letters in the mail, or my inbox is inundated with calls, and I just pick a provider and I just go for the ride.
Yeah.
And that's about as much control as anybody has.
This is a lot of insightful things for you guys to be able to listen to here today. And I'm glad that we have you on, and I'm glad that we're able to offer that to people, because the scariest thing known to any human is the unknown. And I think everybody can agree that people always get discombobulated and frustrated whenever they don't know something. And for you to be able to know exactly what you're doing, to know your power consumption, to know your investment, to know your return, to know your power bill, I think that's something that a lot of people would be highly interested in.
5 to 10 years ago, solar couldn't help you actually see the amount of money that you were saving whenever you're investing into that system. A lot of people were just going into constant debt. But now we have data that proves to you that your solar is actually making you money month by month. Not even just bringing to you with residential, we're also doing commercial solar panel services as well. Big business, big corporations, a lot of people invest into solar, and a lot of people don't understand why. It's because they're actually making money within their investment, ROI, over time by being in charge of their own electricity themselves. Stop depending on electricity providers to be able to provide you random numbers to saying this is what your energy bill is month by month, and actually know what your energy bill is month by month, because you control it. We have the solutions, we have the energy.
So how do you even start the process as far as knowing how much money you can save and starting to take control of your energy.
Yes, sir. To your point, there is so much information out there, whether it's from the news or social media, or your friend had a bad experience or what have you. Going to a chat GPT black hole, trying to do your own research. There's so much information floating around out there. What I fell in love with from the very beginning was just being the expert that would come into your home, sit down with you, knee to knee at your kitchen table, and make sense of all of that for you. And it's just analyzing, what's going on in the house. What's your average kilowatt hour consumption? I customize and design the system to offset your usage, from the grid or the utility to have what you need to run the home, be produced by your system instead.
So what do you need to qualify to be able to have the system that's going to be able to back your house?
So really, there aren't very many qualifiers at all. Number one, it starts with you have to be the homeowner. You have to be the homeowner. Second would be, maybe a decent credit score, kind of like similar to auto financing. Most people don't have the means to go out and buy that car that they have in their driveway cash. So there are financing options set up more available. But I like having those being similar, or maybe even ideally less, your payment to finance the system than what you were paying the power company. So it's net savings to you immediately. Home ownership, a decent credit score, maybe in the 650 range or so.
Okay.
And then outside of that, a power bill that you're eager to get rid of.
Yeah.
Those are the only three things that I would.
So speaking of the power bill, I'm going to give you this scenario because we do new cons.
That's right.
We do new cons.
Yes, sir.
On a new construction, if y'all don't know what that means, on a new construction, could you go ahead and get solar built within your new construction price and budget to be able to switch, or do you need to sign up with an electricity provider to be able to better gauge your solar system and to do that jazz? Do you get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So say if I was to build another house right across the street, right? And I'm like, they're like, yeah, you got to get an electric pole. You got to get a T-pole. T-pole, if you don't know what that means, guys, temporary pole. You got to have that within the construction build of your house, or you're going to be spending a lot of gas and money on generators, okay? You can go either way, okay? Whether I got a generator or whether I got a T-pole, how do you gauge that when it comes down to new construction? Is there a way, or do you have to sign up with a provider, then switch over to solar?
So not necessarily. In what you're describing, a new construction, new build, they won't have usage history.
Exactly.
They won't have any data, so I don't have a reference point. Well, I don't think that anybody should feel discouraged, because the flip side to that, it would be no different than me saying, hey, we're just now building the home. We're new here. I don't have any usage data. Let me go and spend some money with the utility company so I could find out how much I could save.
Exactly.
It just doesn't really line up.
So it's all about, in a matter of sense of understanding where you're starting at.
Yes, sir.
And the difference between how much you can save.
And for that scenario specifically, solar is pretty simple to plug and play. We can get you started with the system. We have so much more useful data than just waiting for one person to realize what their pattern usage habits are going to be in the house.
Yeah.
What about another similar square foot home with the same number of occupants?
Exactly.
That's probably a good indicator.
So you'll go based off a different comp in area.
And we have that in our database, and then we'll start with that. And then if it turns out you need more, we could plug and play. Very simple to add more if needed.
Okay. So it's not only residential solar systems that we're providing here as well, guys. Let's talk a little bit about the commercial side. So of course you see a lot of people and then companies and big corporations invest into solar systems now. You're seeing a lot of panels on top of these buildings, and it's because they notice the money that you can save because they've done the conducive research for it, right?
Yes, sir.
So when it comes down to commercial system, how does that work out for you?
So on a commercial system, meaning the building is owned, commercially or for commercial purposes, when I hear that, not the sales guy on my shoulder speaking, oh, it's a bigger system.
Yeah.
Not that. It's probably a bigger need.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, I've got a dear friend of mine from high school. We've been friends for over 2 decades. He works for a big beer distributor. And they're just a massive warehouse that are keeping temperatures anywhere from like 60 to 40 degrees to keep beer and things like that cold.
Exactly.
So their electric bill, I'm not embellishing or exaggerating, gets into the high 6-figure, low 7-figure range monthly. It's just the square footage and the demands of power.
And the usage.
Like a giant refrigerator or a giant freezer never turns off.
Never turn off.
24/7. So with that, when we sat down with the decision makers, there, what I would have them look at is, number one, three things really. If I could back up, it'd be three things I'd want to talk to a commercial prospect about. Is short term, kind of midterm, and then what the long term benefits are. Short term will always be potentially having you a lower your cash flow outlay every month for power. Midterm, I think there are some opportunities to kind of depreciate what your investment on the system for I would say other tax benefits, which is great. And then overall, it's kind of like we could calculate your cost of doing nothing. And then when this investment is done, there's an actual balance. When your last payment could be made. There's nothing stopping you from paying it early. And then we'll have an amortization schedule that will clearly show you, it'll kind of run two parallels. What you would have done if we didn't sit down to do something about this, and where you are now. And that payment's done, and the rest is just really great for them. It's all money that would have been wasted otherwise.
Okay, let's talk about tax credit. I've heard you say that numerous times within this conversation. I've known a little bit about it before within different systems being put on, but what are the tax credit benefits? What are the things that you're seeing out of the market here today, besides people saving money off the energy bill? What are some other benefits that I can see?
Yes, sir.
In the solar?
Newest update with the federal tax credit, residentially speaking, is gone. So if you hear anybody talking to you about a federal tax credit, residentially now, they're either late, or they're not paying attention to the industry, or they're just giving you bad info, maliciously. But other benefits besides just saving money, there is endless literature supporting that solar homes sell faster and for more money. And I mean, that's it. I really don't know what else to say.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah. So at the same time, I'll have an asset on my home that think of it this way, to pay for your electricity, you're using what? Money. If your system is producing electricity, is it fair to say it's producing money? In a way, it could be viewed as an income and energy or power producing asset on your home. And if I were to do an open house, all of our real estate friends, right? We did an open home for one street. Every house was on the market for sale. And we stopped and looked at everything, and we just asked about utility bills, and 200, 300, 400 normal utility bills. And we stop at this house. They have a stack of maybe $20, $30 bills, or maybe energy credits that have been stored up. This is automatically more attractive.
Exactly.
And long term, it's like it's taken care of. And then in that sense, a lot of homeowners are worried about, well, what happens if I'm installed, and then the plans for the future what are the plans for the future in the home? Do I have to take the panels with me? That sounds a little complicated to me.
It does.
Or there's a lot of real estate friends of mine that say people don't like them. Well, you got to find a motivated buyer anyway for that house.
Exactly.
And if I'm sitting with somebody who isn't motivated about not having a power bill, then maybe I'm sitting with the wrong person.
Yeah, sitting with the wrong person. Yeah.
I might just be sitting with the wrong person.
So with the transfer, speaking of transfer, if I invest into a system, let's say I pay that system off.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then I decide, hey, I don't want the house no more. I want to downsize. The kids graduated. They're gone. I don't have any means for this spacious house anymore. What happens? Do I roll that within the real estate value of sale when it comes down to the equity of the home? Or, like you said, do I get a check back? Like what's happening there?
Yes, sir. The way I would handle it, if you were my homeowner, you're installed, became an empty nester, less usage, I need to downgrade, but I've got these panels on my roof. What am I going to do? There are green energy money appraisers, GEM appraisers that I've worked with for my entire career that specialize in appraising energy efficient and like smart homes. If you have somebody who comes out to appraise your home and they don't have any solar experience, they're not going to value it correctly.
Exactly.
And then at that point, we would market it as that, and then your net investment, your system's paid off in this example, and that net investment, you and I would sit together, and I'd be your kind of concierge, if you would, and work with your realtor and make sure the appraisers come out and appraise it properly. And we would work on just the numbers piece. You just work the numbers to make sure that you can recoup that investment in the proceeds from the additional resale value of your house.
Exactly.
And it's not necessarily a check, but it's lumped into that transaction.
Yeah, it's lumped in a transaction.
And that alone right there, I think, is something that not many people in the industry now can just eloquently talk about.
Yeah.
Just from a lack of experience. Instead, you've got guys, respectfully, coming off pest control or alarms, or maybe a used car salesman, no disrespect to anybody in those fields. But if they don't have that knowledge or that experience, or they haven't worked through those scenarios to a positive result for the homeowner with their own two hands, and they find themselves in a situation talking about it, what are they speaking from? You know,
Speaking from the butt.
I would agree.
Yeah. So, man, I don't want to go in too much depth anymore as far as what we provide and how we do what we do. If you guys have any questions, we do have the info link here on the bottom of the video. Reach out to us anytime. Jackson's number is personally right here on the video as well. Reach out to him personally. Once again, here we are providing you guys energy, and we're also providing you guys more solutions. It's been a pleasure, Mr. Jackson. I look forward to exposing to the world all the amazing things that you're doing currently, and it's what you've done in the past on be able to better help people in the economic challenge times that we have now. If you're not getting better, if you're not getting more knowledge, if you're not moving with what the world is moving with, then you're slowly going to fall behind, and you're going to constantly complain about the same complaints that everyone's been complaining about. So how do you get ahead of the curve? Is to be able to get in touch with people like us that be able to offer you better options, better energy, and not only just solutions for construction, but also energy solutions now. I appreciate you. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
And you guys stay in touch with us, stay on the social media. And if you're interested, please feel free to contact us today.